Yo, so you have probably read the dev note already or saw my video with regards to some exciting upcoming changes for Nikke, and most importantly, as we can see here from Lapchan's new illustration, we will have what they call the treasure system, or high quality upgrade material, the collectibles. If you play other games, usually they're referred to as unique equipment. Now, actually, there has been quite a lot of feedback already. You can see from my previous video, or if you check out my good friend Sky, there's feedback with regards to, is this pay to win? Because it does say that you need to have the unit at least at MLB, right? Max limit break, that's MLB, not Major League Baseball, but MLB, so you need to pull the unit itself, and then 3 copies on top of that to utilize this unique equipment or treasure system. So I want to say that personally, from my perspective, I think this is actually a really good system that has a potential to be super fantastic. Okay, and I'll almost send this video as a feedback as well, that you can really screw this up. Okay, Shiftup, you can really screw this up, or make it actually a very balanced and well received system. So I'll start off by the obvious. So currently they're saying that you have to have the unit undergo 3 limit breaks, so like I said, 4 copies, and then they can be upgraded to treasures, which will enhance the attributes, as well as providing new illustrations, exclusive story episodes, and also upgrade the skills as they have described here. So you can see quite a few changes. Not only are we getting impactful items in-game that will change almost some of the skill kit, along with providing stats, we also get, for the casuals, new illustrations. I mean, just look at this. I mean, you're about to get arrested by the police, okay? But the illustrations are very nice, and the exclusive story, if it's anything to go for, Yuha, for example, will definitely see some exciting plaps. So I'm all for that, okay? But with regards to the pay to win aspect, my stance on this is, I hope their intention of having this system is not to have everyone pull for at least max limit break, right? If everyone has to pull 4 copies of a unit, then of course this is going to be a very bad system. But I think the intention of this is to hopefully bring some of these outdated units into the meta. Because let's face it, do you use Lapchan? When was the last time you saw Freema and Exia in combat? From my perspective, unless it's your top tier waifus, for a kit perspective, they're just not going to catch up to the current meta units. You won't see them in solo raid, union raid, or even story mode, just because their kit is not great. Okay, so if you're not using a favorite unit because they're not up to the current standard, then hopefully these new treasure system, right, giving you new illustrations for your waifus, new plap stories with your waifus, and then making them viable. Like, that sounds amazing. Okay, so if they can control the pace of the release and start with old school Nikkes, I think that's a-okay. I honestly think that's a-okay. I mean, it's gonna suck for new players that join in, right? But for a lot of us, you know, Diesel was free. Lapchan came quite early. Leave a comment down below how many of you guys have these at max limit break, because a lot of the OG older players, right, they have all of these older units that are just sitting on the bench, but they are already MLB, potentially even core 1, core 2, but they're just not seeing any play. So maybe perhaps these systems will allow older units, and I put the stress on the emphasis on older units, to advantage of it, because if they introduce this system and make it as a tool to release almost quote-unquote incomplete kits for the unit, so that you have to pull for MLB and then pull and get the treasure system to get their full potential, then that's a big no-no, right? Like, people will be upset. Like, if let's say Tia and Naga, you have to use them together, but the treasure system for Naga or Tia allows it to be used solo, that's a bit much. That is a bit much, right? Getting the shield or getting the whatever buffs you need to trigger the second part of a skill without running them in conjunction, then I think that'll be broken. And of course, Tia Naga, they're still relatively quote-unquote new, right? But Diesel, Freema, Exia, those are day 1 Nikkes, and they've been, you know, warming the bench for far too long. And I think having this system is quite good. It's not going to consume additional Nikke bodies, and you can obtain them through outpost dispatching, which we do every day and everyone can do in a solo raid. Hopefully this solo raid doesn't mean that you have to place in the top whatever percent, but rather just, you know, participating, you get an X amount. Maybe if you place higher, you get slightly more. But as long as they make this accessible and basically buff the weakest or the lowest percentage used Nikkes, I think overall this can be a very, very good system. Now, if you followed me for more than 5 years on my mobile gaming YouTube journey, you know I pretty much started doing Princess Connect, and we had unique equipments there as well. And unique equipments always made some units that were long and forgotten back into the meta. Of course, Princess Connect is a lot more free to play. That's probably also why it's EOS right now, but for global. But also, I think it's a very, very good system, because then you have the older units catching up to the meta, and then later on, those meta units that are power crept a bit can also come back, right? I think that is not bad. I personally like the system because you get a new illustration, new drawing that can be a bit more risque, and then new stories, exclusive story episodes. So personally for me, I think it's a win, but they can really, really screw it up by, let's say, having a new Pilgrim release at half anniversary and then announcing at the same time the treasure system for that Pilgrim. That's actually just forcing you to pull for 4 copies for the Pilgrim. Yeah, I don't think that's good. I don't think that's good. But if they do it and they say, you know what, this system is going to be implemented and the unit has to be released for more than a year or two to have their treasure, then I think that's okay. Or if they're so bad, like Rosanna, who sees 0 play everywhere, then okay, you know what, have the treasure system half a year later. I think that's alright. But I personally think, as a mobile game player that have played in games that have those unique equipment systems, there's lots of good things about it, as long as it's not being released at the exact same time of a unit that forces people to pull for max limit break, basically. Okay. Now the downside to this, and I've seen from some of the comments, is that what about the limited units and what about the collab units? So personally, I think if they are releasing this unique equipment not at the launch of the unit, but you know, months or years later after the unit is available, then usually these unique equipments are released at the rerun, right? So rerun of the collab, even though we haven't had one happen yet, a rerun of the limited, which we have, the winter limiteds, then they can think about releasing the treasures. I think that's alright, because it allows people to pick them up. If you picked up 1 copy already before, now, you know, who knows, Winter Rupee might be freaking viable. Winter Rupee might be viable with the treasure system and have a more skimpy outfit. You don't know that, right? And we might actually see Makima in-game on a Team 4 solo raid team. I know, unimaginable. But I think this at least opens up a lot more ways to grow your Nikke, to have more content added to it, without releasing alters every single time of a character. So personally for me, I think I'm quite optimistic about this. They can definitely screw it up, don't get me wrong. But yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Of course, with the treasure system, a lot of you guys are wondering, what about the wedding ring system? Well, guys, we're not even at the 1.5 anniversary just yet, okay? You gotta spend a bit more time with the girl before you put a ring on that. So, I already talked about unique equipment around the 1st anniversary, saying that going into year 2, potentially we're gonna be looking at unique equipments to make older Nikkes viable. I would say going into year 3 and 4, we would be looking at a wedding system, an oath system, okay? Wedding dress, Modernia. Wedding dress, Red Hood. Wedding dress, Dorothy. I mean, we kind of have a version of that, don't we? Right? We kind of have a version of that. A black, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily call it wedding dress, but yes. Anyhow, I think that's enough ranting. I just wanted to share my thoughts because a lot of people do have concerns. But, I mean, just look at Noise. Noise was definitely so amazing in the beginning of the game for beginners, and I want to use Noise even more. So what if a unique equipment gets released and the noise takes me backstage in the exclusive story for some plap plap plap, and then she also gets a new unique treasure called the Commander's Mic, okay? And then that allows her to AoE taunt for 30 seconds, becoming immune to all damage. I'm kidding. Alright. Anyhow, it's TimaeuSS here. It's enough. You see my point already, okay? Leave it down in the comments if you want to share your thoughts on this system. But I think this is good. I'm optimistic. And hopefully devs keep cooking and do not disappoint us. I'm sure we'll see more information during the 1.5 anniversary. So until then, I'll see you guys in the next video. And goodbye now.